Good morning, everybody. John, can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. So welcome. I'm Brett Janelle with the Retired Living True series. And today's topic is on right-sizing and decluttering. And before I hand it over to John, who's going to lead today's session, there's just a couple of housekeeping items I wanted to mention. The first one, we have everybody muted on purpose. So the way this will work, John will present some material, there'll be some interaction, we'll unmute you individually and John will explain how that will happen. But for the most part, we're going to just keep everyone muted so everybody can hear. If I could ask everyone just to have a piece of paper and a pen. John's going to have you take some notes and do an exercise as we go through this. So if you can just ensure that in the next minute or so, to have a piece of paper and a pen, just so you can take some notes for an exercise that John's going to have you do. And then I just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to do this session. It's part of the 4-week series. So this is week 1 of 4. So not next week, but the following week we'll have week 2, and then the following week, week 3 and week 4. And then we'll continue this on and we'll come back and start at week 1. So it kind of builds on itself, but as John will explain, you can start the process of decluttering immediately and then just keep adding to your knowledge as we go through the process. And I think I'm going to just hand it over to you, John. So all yours, John. Take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe introduce who you are, John.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett. My name is John Pettengill, and I am the Senior Moves Manager for the Janelle Moves Made Easy business that is part of the Janelle Group. And so I've had the pleasure of getting to know the Janelles and work as their Senior Moves Manager for this last couple of years, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So with no further ado, we are here because we're going to talk about decluttering 101. So let's go ahead and start the presentation. So what I want to do to start with is say welcome. I'm overjoyed. This really is a true pleasure. I come from a background of being a high school biology teacher, so I'm in front of an audience again, and that speaks to part of my soul. So thank you. I'm overjoyed. Obviously, we're all staying safe and sane, and that's what Brett and I are doing with this, is another way to help you stay sane during the outbreak that we're all having to deal with. So our blessings and hope that everybody in your lives are being safe. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to talk about what brings you here today, and that's a simple word: clutter. And I know that probably everyone here wants to come away from this experience and you want to learn something new about how to become a clutter ninja. So somebody who can tackle and eliminate and vanquish all of the clutter in your existence. So we're going to talk about clutter today and much, much more. But first, I want to talk to you about elephants and frogs. How are elephants and frogs related to clutter? Well, we all know that elephants take up a whole lot of space, and I'm sure you're with the old idiom, the elephant in the room. So we want to make that connection that your clutter is your elephant in the room, and I know that all of us know the end of this idiom. So say it with me: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that really is the premise of what decluttering is all about. And then frogs, like, what do you mean frogs? Frogs. Oh, and for those of you on the telephone, I just showed a picture of an animated little elephant and an animated little frog, just to lighten it up a little bit. This was I think the WB's dancing frog. Frogs, if you think about having to eat a frog, something yucky, something icky, that you probably would never think of doing unless you absolutely had to, there's part of the decluttering process that definitely takes on that icky, yucky feeling of not wanting to deal with it and get it away from me. What I hope that you will learn is that through this process that I'm going to talk about, you're going to learn how to love frogs. So those icky, yucky things are going to become part of accepting what you have to deal with in your decluttering realm, in that mindset of decluttering your work. We're also going to learn more ways to be more efficient in dealing with our elephant and frogs. So I have a very lofty goal, and it sounds a little something like this. Our goal is to increase your quality of life by helping you connect with how you think, feel, and behave by making different choices about your stuff. Pretty straightforward, but it's lofty. But before we get to the decluttering part of the talk, I want to talk about getting smart. So those of you that remember Get Smart, the old TV show, this is kind of based on that. No, not really. But before we declutter, I want to help you think about how to get smart in terms of making decisions. So the workshop format, as Brett had mentioned, is going to look something like this. This is session 1 of 4, and it's on a decluttering component. Each week, so I'm going to try and repeat this process. I'm going to talk about the whole process in general, and then I'm going to pull back the curtain like the Wizard of Oz on 2 or 3 of the steps in the decluttering process that I've adopted, and kind of reveal some of the hidden gems that are there for you. So what I would like you to do, and then the last thing is each week I'll assign a weekly challenge for you. So that piece of paper, as you can see on the screen, and those of you who don't have a screen, I would like you to have a piece of paper, and at the top middle of the paper, write "My Elephant." In the middle of the, so back up just a second. So write "My Elephant," and if you want to add your frogs, you're more than welcome to, and I'll explain that when we get to it. In the middle of the page, somewhere in the middle, so you can still write below it, write "My Get Smart Goal," and that's somewhere in the middle of the page. And then at the bottom of the page, we're going to talk about your obstacles, or you're going to talk about your obstacles. So your obstacles somewhere near the bottom. So that sets up, that's really all we're going to be focused on in this session: your elephants, your SMART goals, and your obstacles. So what I'd like to do is practice raising your hand, because we've got 23 people in the session right now, and raising your hand is something I would like you to participate in. So when you're done setting up your piece of paper, raise your hand. If you know how to do that, do it. If you don't, you need to hover over or tap the screen. If you're on a tablet, there's usually a "More" button somewhere, and you will see "Raise Hand." That's something that you should be able to find fairly easily. And I see that we've got a couple people. There we go. People are coming in. Gail's got it. Very good. Here we go. People, Nona's got that going. Very good. Just looking to see how we're going. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do, and the reason I'm practicing raising your hands, is so that I'll have a couple of questions. If people would like to give their input or feedback, I would like you to be able to do that by raising your hand, saying that I have something I would like to share. So I know that you know how to raise your hand by doing this first little exercise. So far, 3 people have shown me that they know how to raise their hand. So I'm not sure if those of you that aren't raising your hand just haven't quite figured that out yet, but I need to move past this. Yep, we got 4 people. All right. So keep trying, keep practicing. At some point, I will unraise all the hands as we start moving forward. So keep trying, tap the screen, look for the ellipses. You might see the 3 dots, the ellipses, tap that. That will open the screen up, and it'll allow you to see somewhere it's raise hand. All right, good. So with the workshop format, there's one more thing I wanted to just review, is we're going to be doing essentially these 5 things on the screen for those on the phone. Number 1, we're going to decide what to declutter. There is a decision in there. We're going to talk about getting smart and setting some SMART goals. We're going to be talking about obstacles and being proactive in identifying those. And then we'll have a challenge assignment that I'll be discussing towards the end. And then finally with a Q&A session, so you get, as I move along, if questions pop up, jot them down, and then you can raise your hand and let us know how you, if you have any questions, and I'll attempt to answer those. All right. So the decluttering process, I've broken down into 9 steps. So this is the broad overview of what it is that I'd like you to see. So simply declutter in these 9 steps. You can see that the leading letter of each of the steps is part of the word declutter, for those of you not seeing it visually. So step 1 is to decide what you'll declutter. Step 2 is to evaluate the space. We're going to cover steps 1 and 2 in today's session. That's where you see the purple line drawn there. So step 3 then moves on to clearing your workspace and some tips on that. Step 4 on our second session will be laying out your kit. There is a kit. It's a very useful and valuable kit for decluttering. Steps 5 and 6, we're going to understand how to tackle the area and essentially develop a plan of attack. Then we've got the declutter, the actual physical part of the decluttering. There's lots of information in that one. That'll be in our third session. And then the fourth session will be steps 7, 8, and 9. Step 7 is too much to keep pile. And so we'll be doing a check again version. Then step 8 is everything away. So once you've decluttered, where does it all go? And we'll talk about some tips and tricks related to putting stuff away. And then step 9 is to relax and reward yourself. Yeah, I mean, you're doing this hard work. And so we want to be talking about how you can incentivize yourself with that carrot. All right, so we're going to reveal some gems of wisdom and knowledge in the 2 to 3 steps each week. And as you incorporate this new knowledge into your life experience, you will grow and the changes that you seek will manifest. All right, so let's jump right in. What is your elephant? You came here with an elephant. We all have them. So I want you to make it known. Make your elephants known, reveal them to the universe, and you will manifest the change that you seek. So on that piece of paper under my elephant, think about what it is that's that one or multiple spaces that you would like to identify as the thing that you have to chip away at, eat one bite at a time to tackle. Now, if you have your entire home as your elephant, that's great. That's not a bad elephant to have, but realize that's a massive elephant. So are there other spaces, other smaller things that you can start addressing? So we'll focus on one of them each week if you have too many elephants, but I'd like you to take about 60 seconds or so. And what I would like to do is have you, I'm lowering all the hands right now, so that's why I'm a little distracted. There we go. So I'd like you to take about 60 seconds. I'll play some music in the background. I want you to think about what those spaces might look like, what they are, identify them in detail, as much detail as you possibly can. And when you are done with your elephant and you've identified at least one, the one that you focus on for the next, I'd like to share. So let's take 60 seconds and write down what your elephant is. And as soon as you're done, go ahead and raise your hand if you would like to share what your elephant is. If you make it known to the universe, the change will happen. All right. I forgot to mention, it's always the second thing that happens. If you're on your phone and you would like to raise your hand, I so apologize, hit the *9 key. So on your phone, *9 will raise your hand. All right, we've got 3 people that would like to share what their elephant is or elephants are. So let's go first to Judy. Judy, what is your elephant?
My elephant is paperwork. I have 2 file drawers and 3 boxes.
All right, fantastic. Is that the major elephant that is in front of you?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any smaller elephants that are associated with that? Just curious.
Desk drawers, home office, mess.
All right, very good. So thank you for sharing. Let's go ahead and take on Doug. Doug, what is your elephant? There. Oh, Doug lowered his hand, I think. Or did I? No, I got to unmute him. So there we go. Sorry, hang on, Doug. Unmute. There we go. Hi, Doug. What's your elephant?
My elephant is sitting in my garage.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, it's a big elephant. It's taking up almost the whole garage.
What is the elephant made of?
Well, it's made of accumulations of stuff over the past 20 years.
But if you don't know where to put it, you put it in the garage.
I know if I asked everybody, does that jive with him? Yep, absolutely. There's got to be a place to put stuff. And so now you're having to deal with your stuff. Good. Thank you for sharing your elephant. Very good. And then we've got Noni. We'll do one more here. So Nona, go ahead and share. See if I can get you unmuted there. Yeah, Nona, what is your elephant today?
I have a 10 by 20 brown storage shed full of stuff and a 10 by 50 office trailer full of stuff.
All right, that's some serious square footage. Very good. All right, so those are each of your elephants, and for me, my elephant is usually my office space that you're visiting right now, which is in my home. So I thank you for participating with that. So what I want to do is have everybody with that really clear definition of that space that you want to attack. And what we'll do is we'll talk through a couple of components to that today. So thank you everybody who chimed in. So at this point, now that we've identified, and I know you came here with a purpose, now we've identified that elephant that you really want to focus your energy and your focus on. So with that, that means we're going to move on to our SMART goal. So I could spend an entire seminar talking about SMART goals, and I call it your Get Smart goal because I used to watch that show when I was a kid and I loved it. So Get Smart goals are essentially an acronym SMART that I'll introduce you to. And like I said, I could do an entire series on this, but I've got two examples that really drive the point home. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and timely. And a SMART goal, any goal that you take on is I thought about this on my dog walk this morning. A SMART goal is really kind of the catalyst that really helps push you to seeing progress and making clear, definitive progress on a goal that you have set. So this can be applied to really any goal that you have in front of you. So if I were to write a goal that would be a poor example of a SMART goal, a dumb goal, I would say, my goal is I want to declutter my house by tomorrow. Well, that's not really specific. I don't know how I'm measuring it. It's way ambitious, super ambitious. It's not realistic. And there's no, by tomorrow, okay, there was a time component. Tomorrow is part of time, but there's no way to get a house decluttered by tomorrow. So a SMART goal has all of these components built into it. So, for example, I will declutter my home office by spending 30 to 45 minutes each day this week until the task is completed and I can truly enjoy my reward. So you can see that it's got the specificity. It's specific, it's my home office, it's measurable. I put some component of time, a number of minutes, a count of things. So if you go into your garage, Doug, and you're like, okay, today I'm just gonna handle 10 boxes. That's all I'm gonna do. There, it's measurable. So you set a SMART goal. And again, make sure that it's ambitious, it's challenging you, but it's not overwhelming you. Obviously, realistic makes sense. It has to be something you think you can accomplish. And for this workshop, you might have your whole house as the elephant, but we want to focus on the one elephant that you want to try and tackle either within this week, so you have a new elephant next week, or within this 4 weeks, this 4-session series. So be thinking about that, and I'll be talking more about rewards later on. All right, so moving on. So we've got that. I want everybody to be thinking about your elephant and writing a SMART goal. So what I'd like you to do is spend a minute or two, and oh, it looks like Janet raised her hand, so I'm going to lower your hand, Janet, unless you had a question. We'll come back to that. What is your SMART goal? So thinking about that same process, being specific. Let me go back one. Whoop. Can I go back one? There we go. Oop. I apologize. I got this. There. What is your SMART goal? So specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and timely. I'll say that again. I'd like you to write a specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, and timely goal. I'm going to spend a minute letting you think and ruminate on that. I'll be back.
And John, was that
Yeah.
that's the goal for us to achieve between now and the next time we get together, correct? In 2 weeks?
It does not need to be completely accomplished. It needs to be something that you're going to be working toward. Thank you for clarifying. Does that help?
Would it be good though that it's something we have accomplished within the 2 weeks?
Absolutely. That just means that you have seen an ambitious goal and you accomplished it, and it sets you up for great success. So it's perfectly okay to say, you know what, this is so overwhelming. I'm just gonna, my elephant is my sock drawer. I'm just gonna do my sock drawer. And if that's all you accomplish for the week, absolutely, hallelujah, you made a step. You got over a hurdle that you weren't previously able to get over.
So in Doug's case of having many boxes to go through, I think it was Doug, maybe the goal is to get through 3 boxes in the next 2 weeks would be a reasonable SMART goal, but the elephant is all of the boxes over time.
Yeah, exactly. You think of it that way. Very good. Looks like we've still got 22 people on the call. All right. If this was a challenging task, I just want you to visit with that and understand that having a SMART goal is not an absolute requirement to be a declutterer ninja, but it certainly is helpful. It can be a catalyst because you're thinking about the process and you're putting thought into action by having a SMART goal. So if anybody out there has a SMART goal they would like to share, let's take about 30 seconds and see if we can get anybody to share their SMART goal. And yeah. All right. I'm not surprised that nobody raised their hand. This is a personal thing, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and move on. So having thought about your, let me turn off my music. Having thought about your SMART goal, giving it that specific, measurable, ambitious, realistic, timely thought, it's important to then move on to the next piece of the puzzle, which is identifying your obstacles. Kind of the same idea here, and I'll ask you to raise your hand if you would like to share. Obstacles are the things, so I envision, my analogy is if you're in a canoe going downstream and you have obstacles in your way, you see them ahead of time. Hopefully you've got enough vision ahead of you. You're not looking 2 inches in front of you, you're looking ahead and you can navigate the canoe around the obstacles. Thinking along the same lines, it's really important as you become a decluttering ninja to know what your limitations are. So be thinking about and write down perhaps a short list of those things that are known obstacles that will get in your way. For example, if your energy is low in the morning and you're more of a night owl person, probably doing your best decluttering time is not in the morning, or vice versa. I'm a morning person. I love getting up, getting my coffee and spending an hour doing some decluttering. Great. Also, pay attention to your medications. Obviously, everybody reacts to their medications differently, but if you know that about your medications, think about that way. Other obstacles besides that could be getting in your way, your family, your relationships, your schedule. You just have such a crazy schedule. And with that, I would like everybody to think about excuses are not obstacles. I don't have the right kind of storage containers. That's not an obstacle to decluttering. That's an excuse for not decluttering. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so anybody would like to share any of their obstacles? See if anybody raises their hand. Thank you, Doug. Let me see if I can get Doug unmuted. Thank you for participating. I appreciate it. There we go. Doug, what is your obstacles?
Well, one of the objectives that I was going to do was sort through the stuff and donate some of it.
Okay.
And an obstacle is donations aren't being accepted because the places are closed down.
Right. That's a very good point. One of the things that's important to think about as obstacles are not just the obstacles that you can control. Like I can control the time that I choose to take to start my decluttering. You can choose knowing how you react to your medications. But when things are beyond your control, you just have to kind of more accept those things. And that's a great example of that, Doug. The donation shops are all closed because of the coronavirus. So how do you solve that problem? So be thinking about the alternatives to that, knowing that you're going to be sorting through things and creating a pile of things that you want to donate. Do you have the space and the capacity to resort those in that way? Those are all decisions that you have to make kind of on the fly as you go. Cool.
Well, you can start with making a pile that goes into the trash because the trash guys are still coming.
Right. Exactly true. Exactly true. Very good. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute you again, Doug. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else want to share real quickly? And all right.
So John, can we just try something for a moment different, because we're all kind of learning this new medium in terms of doing these meetings and webinars. Do you mind if I just try unmuting everybody? Because there's some people who probably, depending on their device, some people are chatting with me, just having trouble working out how to raise their hand. So I thought this might create chaos, but let's try unmuting all and seeing if anyone else has obstacles to share.
Okay, very good.
Everyone now is unmuted. Did anyone have any other obstacles to share with John and the rest of the group?
I have one.
And who is this, please?
Bob?
Hi, Bob.
Yes. I have so much stuff in my garage, and one of the other people talking gave me an idea, and that is to sell or donate one thing at a time that I do not use anymore. Well, some of the toys I've had in the past.
Right. Right. Very good. Very good.
And I cannot find a way to raise my hand.
If you click on participants, one of the options at the bottom is raise your hand.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brett, for allowing everybody to chime in. All right, we've got about another 30, 40 seconds before I need to move on. Anybody else want to share an obstacle real quick?
Well, this is Mark. I can jump in.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
There's always differences of opinion between family members about what should go and what should stay. So that'll be one of the challenges, is getting everybody on board.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'll be talking about that concept in today's lecture after this. We've got two more people that raise your hand. Just hold on to those, Ruth and Virginia. What I'd like to do is go ahead and move on to my next slide. So I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand this time, and thank you for learning how to do that. I need to go ahead and why isn't it moving?
Sorry, John, I unmuted you while while muting everyone else. You're back.
That's all right. I'm back. All right. So I'm sorry. I apologize. I wanted to go ahead and move on. For those of you that that raise your hand, I appreciate you wanting to send us some feedback and some information. But what I want to do now is obviously jump straight into step 1 of the 9 steps, is deciding what to declutter. And obviously you have decided what to declutter. It's that elephant that we'd identified. But starting off, what is clutter? It's a really simple definition that helps us very clearly identify what we want to do. It's a collection of stuff lying around in an untidy mess where it doesn't belong. If you focus on the fact that it's something that is not where it should be, that really helps the decluttering process. decluttering is not the same as organizing. All right. So I know that we all have clutter, and dealing with stuff it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, we're all humans, and we all possess the same scope and spectrum of emotions, and we all have to deal with those in certain ways. When it comes to our stuff, we very much kind of hang on to our identities through our stuff, and learning to let some of that go it's a process, and it can be difficult depending on the items. Here's a great quote that I came across from an occupational therapist. Clutter is nothing more than a postponed decision. Decluttering is not the same as organizing. So as we go through this process, I want you to think about organizing is a whole nother step. We want to declutter first. The aim of any decluttering is essentially to get rid of anything that doesn't belong in the space that you're tackling. That's very simple. You should know the space that you're in, know what should be there, and we want to collect and remove things that aren't there. Now, obviously, for people that are in the situation like Doug's, like the whole garage, I don't want all of it there. Same idea, you're still going to have to deal with what goes and what stays, and rethinking the process of where it's going to go and how can I incorporate the things I want to keep into my life again, and the things that I don't want, as Doug had mentioned, how do I get rid of the other stuff? And that's a whole nother topic of conversation. The key to decluttering is to not procrastinate. Yeah. And here's the one that is easily overlooked. As best you can, whenever you're going through the decluttering process, try really hard not to touch things more than once. And I know how hard it is, especially when you're dealing with things that you really care about, but know that you probably have to make a decision now where it's never going to get made, because it's just going to be in a maybe pile, and the maybe pile just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So not always possible. So that's why I said really try hard to not touch things more than once. All right. So diving in, step one really has to identify in what space you're going to tackle, which we've done. That's our elephant. Obviously, consider starting small. So if Doug has 30 boxes and 30 is overwhelming, start with 1 or 2. Start with your sock drawer and think about building on progress, starting small and building until you get exactly what it is that you want, the results that you're looking for. I know for me, and this is a personal touch on this, that as a senior moves manager, I'm helping people declutter and move things, and it's a completely different. I notice this when it's my stuff, it makes me really anxious. I get really anxious about dealing with my own decluttering. I'm a human with the same spectrum of emotions, and as a 53-year-old, I have my 53 years of life experience, my memories, my past, and all the things that are me built up into my stuff. So it's really difficult. How I deal with that is I first become aware that I'm getting anxious. I have to tap into being aware, being present in doing this process. When it's my stuff, it's even more so. When it's somebody else's stuff, I also do that. I become aware that what I'm touching and helping people with could have profound significance to them. And it could be a simple teacup, something that to me doesn't have any meaning. So being aware of that really helps me get over the anxiety. I think of it as becoming transparent to that. I become aware that I'm getting anxious, and then I just try and become transparent to it. Accept it. All right, I'm anxious. I know it's going to go away if I just relax and move forward. Here's the part that we were talking about that sorry, I forgot his name already. The gentleman who said decluttering your own stuff. This is important because obviously only you know what feels right to you. When you have another partner or other family members that are involved in that, it takes on another layer. So having the decision or coming to a decision for you is what you need to focus on. And then obviously the communication. So if you tap into why you want to hold on to this or why you want to get rid of this, as long as you own that and you can assert that part of why you made that decision, you can have a more meaningful conversation with the people that are also involved. here's a really good lesson that I've learned in working with some folks that are a little more elderly and not quite as mobile. Is let's call her Mary. Mary was had a decluttering job where she wanted to go through her photo. She had a collection of photos that were just in a shoebox, and she needed to go through several shoeboxes. And so what she learned, what worked for her, is to set up a nice little station where she can multitask. It was fairly mindless work. It didn't take a whole lot, but it took time. So she was able to sit comfortably on her couch, able to go through those items and on her pace. So it was really about what made her feel comfortable to tackle that, to get over the things along those. It's important that whenever you do things like this and when you're comfortable, that you take those little bites out of the elephant, because every little bit counts. Be aware of your thoughts and feelings. I've talked about thoughts and feelings and having you think and change the way that you behave based on how you're thinking and feeling when you go through this process. So whatever you can do, whether it's prayer or meditation or just simple awareness. For me, I use a serenity stone. It's a cold rock, but when I'm getting anxious or I need to be aware, I simply hold on to the rock, and I know that by the time it gets warm to my touch, it's really a way for me to become aware of my feelings. Okay, step 2 is simple. So we're getting close to the end here. We're at 48 minutes into the call, so we're on pretty good timing. This is a step that is very easily overlooked because it's your space, and because there's lots of different possibilities out there on what people are trying to declutter, from sock drawers to garages to storage sheds. One of the important parts is to evaluate the space. If it's a storage shed, clearly it's going to store stuff. If it is a pantry, great. It makes sense. It's going to be a pantry. It's all it's ever designed to be. But if you have spaces that you're worth evaluating, one of it could be, I just want this space, just a decluttered version of it. Great. But you also want to declutter properly, you need to know what constitutes clutter in that space. For instance, I'm in my home office, having a lawnmower in my home office, my lawnmower is clutter. So when you identify the space, you know what things go in that space. Just be mindful that you're evaluating the space so that you know as you go through all of your items in that space, you're making decisions based on what you want that space to be used for. If it's going to continue to be used for as a home office, then decluttering is pretty simple. Not home office, not home office, not home office. Then you just deal with it in that way. It's worth taking a few minutes to assess the space that you're decluttering so that you have that forethought, so you're not in the middle of decluttering and thinking, oh, I'm going to keep this, I'm going to keep that. Well, where are they going to go? Have that evaluation component is important. And like I said, using the space as it is, just decluttered, is also a way to evaluate the space. And more important, and not more, but also important, is are you using it in the right way? Are you maximizing the use of that space? All important things to consider. All right, wow, that was a ton of information in a short period of time. And for those of you on the telephone, I hope it is useful that you're hearing things and not able to see the screen. One of the things that I'm gonna have us do, because we've identified an elephant, you've thought about or written down a SMART goal, and you've identified obstacles, things that you need to pay attention to as you begin the process, whether it's a small sock drawer or a project that's gonna take 4, 6, 8 weeks, whatever that happens to be. So my challenge for you between now and 2 weeks from now is to clarify or adjust your SMART goal. So if you have not written one down, think about writing those down. And again, I'll repeat those. SMART goal stands for specific. It's measurable. You're using some kind of number system, whether it's a count of things or a time. Think of how you can incorporate numbers or other ways to measure what it is that you're doing, because numbers, it can be more than numbers. SMART, the A is it ambitious for you? Is it realistic that you can accomplish it? And is it timely? Do you have a time limit on it? And one of the best tricks that people know they use their oven timer, set it for 15 minutes, have at it. In 15 minutes, the buzzer will go off and you'll realize, wow, I got so much done in 15 minutes. I'm gonna go for another 15 minutes. those are the kinds of things that can happen when you get into it. All right, clarify and reflect. The challenge for you this week is to clarify, adjust, tweak your SMART goal to maybe address the elephant, or maybe you've got smaller elephants you want to write SMART goals for. You can kind of chain them up and take them on a journey. And the other part is reflection. That part that really encapsulates the learning and cements it is I want you to think about when we meet in 2 weeks, what worked. Be thinking about this obviously as you get ready for next session to share what worked and what didn't. It's a typical, simple question to ask. And what's going, what got in the way that you did not anticipate? So obstacles that you weren't anticipating. Did you have, this is my favorite part of the reflection, did you have any epiphanies or aha moments, personal discoveries about yourself, about your partner, about the process, anything along those lines? I love to hear those. Those are the aha moments that warm my heart. All right, thank you. We've got 7 minutes until we hit the hour. I apologize for running a little bit longer than I wanted to, but if you're on the phone or online, whoop, what happened? Oh, I see what happened.
Sorry, John, I think that was me. My apologies.
It's all right. So online or on phone, raise your hand, or if we need to, we could do the unmute thing as well. Next session, I'm just reiterating. Did you do that again, Brett? The next session is going to be on 4/21, April 21st, same time, 10 o'clock, we'll get things started. We're going to cover steps 3 and 4, clearing your workspace and laying out your kit. We will send a reminder email. So with a few minutes left here, does anybody have any questions they'd like to toss up and see if I can answer?
And John, just before you do take questions, regarding those who would like to attend the second session, which will be on April the 21st, as you have on the slide for those who are looking from their computer, we will need you to register again because of Zoom putting in some security things over the weekend. We'll need you to register. So you can go to janellegroup.com events to register. I'm just going to pop up a poll on the screen. I don't know if this will work.
All right.
And you can acknowledge the poll and we'll send you out the invite. But if for whatever reason you can't answer this poll, which I'm just going to put up on everyone's screen now, hopefully. So hopefully on your screen, a poll has appeared just asking you, would you like us to send you an invite for session number 2, Tuesday, April the 21st? If you mark yes, we'll get you an email, but you'll still have to put in your details. For those who either don't get the email or aren't able to respond to the poll because maybe you're on the phone, again, if you go to janellegroup.com/events, you'll find the next event for April the 21st there, and then you can register. And if you have any problems, just give us a call in the office and we're happy to help with that. So I'm just going to leave the polling up and I'll just let you continue there, John.
Very good. Yes, thank you. We have a question from RBHA, so I'm going to unmute that person. All right, welcome.
Yes, I'm Bob, and I'd like to be able to change my label here. How can I do that?
Oh, changing the name of, instead of RBHA, you want to change
To Bob.
Okay. Then what I can do is I went in and I just clicked on more, and then I changed it to Bob.
Very good. And I have one more question. Can we screen print any of these screens that you have up?
You mean the slides?
Yes.
So the PowerPoint. Brett, maybe you can help me with that. I know that we can get it out to people in several ways. So I'd be willing to do that. Brett?
Let me work on that, maybe on the events page, or let us work on it and get back to you. We'll see if there's a way we can easily do that.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. We'll see what we can do about getting the slides out to everybody. I'm also willing to take suggestions. Obviously, I'm learning and growing as we do this process. So if anybody has suggestions, you can type them in the chat. I'll get them that way. You can also email me at john@janellegroup.com. So if you were interested in just sending me some constructive feedback, I'm willing to take all that on so that I can get better at doing this and make the series that much better.
Nona has her hand up, John, if you want to take that, and then we'll perhaps unmute it to everybody.
Okay, there we go. Unmute. Nona, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm an environmentalist. I grew up out in Central Nevada. I'm an only child of two survivors of World War II and the Depression, so they were hoarders. They saved everything, broken or not.
Right.
I live on a large property, and most everything here was not mine. It was theirs. I've already had several dumpster loads and 18-wheelers hauling stuff out. But my real base reality in being an environmentalist is it's still stuff, and I have the room for it. So in my heart, I think, why would I be so selfish as to clear all this stuff out of my space to make myself feel better when Mother Earth has to take it somewhere else? So I need to somehow get over that stoppage space where I have the room. So why wouldn't I just leave it here? Although it's going from being an asset to a liability, and my insurance goes up just because I'm storing it here.
Yeah, that's a great share. That whole concept of 7.3 billion humans on the planet all have stuff. That's an amazing amount of stuff that our Mother Earth is having to deal with. I just watched the documentary on Netflix on plastics, and I understand that draw, that emotional connection to stuff and not wanting to be part of the problem, wanting desperately to be part of the solution. What I can just share is it's making that personal connection to the quality of your life and understanding that the way those atoms are arranged in all of the things that you have as stuff are going to be here, whether they're on your property or in a dumpster or shining on top of a hill in Yorkshire, England. It doesn't matter where the stuff is, it's still going to be stuff. It's just a matter of coming to grips with it being part of your journey and your life story, or freeing up some of that to move on and helping you become, like I said, in our goal is to have a more purposeful and meaningful life. So if that's of any help to you, I hope it is. So thank you for sharing.
John, just before we open it up to everybody, our poll did not work because we didn't require people to register. Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Okay.
I got people's responses, but I don't know who they were that put their hands up. So we are going to have to ask that you go to the website to register in order for the next call. We will send out an email to everyone who's had interest in this call, so you can at least click on that link to go and register. So hopefully that'll help.
So I'm typing on the screen. The most important letter there is events. It's plural. So www.janellegroup.com/events. And since I have everybody's attention, can everybody see the screen still, I'm assuming? Scrolling down, what I want to go ahead and do is go to that website so you see what you'll see. So janellegroups.com/events.
And while John is doing that, I also just put it in the chat window. For anyone who's using the chat window within Zoom, I just put the address there as well.
Right. So if you go to the janellegroup.com/events, what you see is this information. So if you want to attend the next seminar on the 21st, there it is right there. Find out more or click on decluttering. It'll take you to the registration page where you get to read a little bit more about it, kind of the reiteration of that. It's session number 2. You click on the reserve your space, and like you're used to, you can see I've already got the dates. Brett has the date set up. And then you just fill in the information, tell us you're not a robot, you're registered, and then you will immediately get the code, the URL, or the phone number if you're calling in. You'll get that information immediately, so you can do that. And then it'll also send you an email, so it'll be in your inbox, so you can tuck it away and know that it's there for you on the 21st. Anything else you'd like to cover, Brett?
No, that's it, John. Great job. Thank you.
Okay. All I can see is thank you so much. We've obviously gone a little bit over on the hour. We'll do better on that. Give me some feedback if you would like to. John at janellegroup.com. Be happy to get your feedback. and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy hunting.
Just before you disappear,
Oh,
we
yeah.
still have 10 minutes. You haven't gone over. It's only 10
Oh.
and 2. So I'm
Oh.
going to unmute everybody if anyone else has questions who wasn't able to raise their
I
hand.
apologize. My timer went away, so I was unable to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody. Here we go. Anybody have questions, feedback, information?
So everyone's unmuted. If we don't have any questions, we'll give it 30 seconds or so. We'll close out this call. But if you have a question or a comment right now, you can speak freely, hopefully.
Yep, just speak up. Be happy to address. All right.
This is
What I can tell everybody is the steps following today. Today was 1 and 2 introductory. The 9 steps are really effective. What I can tell you is that you're going to get some really concrete tips on how to become a better declutter or a clutter ninja. So with that, I would just want to once again say thank you so much. It brings joy to my heart and to help people in a way while we're dealing with this coronavirus. And we look forward when we can finally get back and see everybody in person. Brett, is there anything you want to sign off with?
No, we'll just keep this open for 30 seconds if there was anyone who had questions.
Very good.
For a couple of minutes.
All right.
This is Bob. I have another question.
Go ahead, Bob.
You have the registration page up here, and since we're on this call, do we still need to register for the rest of them?
Correct, Bob. Because of the way Zoom have changed it and the way we need to do this, yeah, we do need to get people to register for the following sessions. The code will be different. You will not be able to use the
Okay,
code
thank you.
today to be able to access the call.
Great clarification question, Bob. So yeah, you'll register. You'll get a new code and a password. Is that correct, Brett? So you'll get a password you'll have to enter in order to get into it, and that's going to stop people from, I guess, photo bombing or bombing in on Zoom meetings.
Just to clarify, there'll be a link. You'll just need to click on the link. It includes the password, so you won't have to enter anything unless you're calling in from the phone. If you're using the phone, then there is a password to enter.
Very good. Very good. All right. Any other questions? All right, then with that, hello? Oh, I thought I heard somebody ask a question. All right, so I'm going to hand this back to Brett to do the final sign off. Bless you and thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And if you have questions or need help getting on or have feedback, email John. Feel free to give us a call in the office, and we're more than happy to help you. Take care. Have a great day.
So what happens if I do this? I do full screen. I